Hi everybody. This is a update on some recent CDs that I've received in the last 2 or 3 weeks. And also I want to talk about the 60s. So first of all, I got these. I had 19 Elvis Costello CDs and now I have 21. I got 2 more at a local, I guess they call them pawn shops, where they sell them for like $4.99. So I got Elvis Costello's North, and I've read online reviews that it's boring and whatever, but I think it's a really nice album. And I've only listened to it once, but I enjoy it. I really love Elvis Costello's vocals. And the other one, even he says, is his worst album, or at least at the time when this came out. In the notes it says, "Congratulations, you've just purchased our worst album." So yeah, I got this at the used store too. Goodbye Cruel World. It's not bad. It's certainly not one of his greatest albums, but you know, it's of its time. And when it came out, I didn't mind it. Of course, he does a duet with Daryl Hall from Hall & Oates. And some of you might know I'm a big fan now of this album by Gene Clark, No Other. So I want to get more of his music. And I recently got Dillard and Clark. I believe this was the first thing, I think this was before his first solo album, Dillard and Clark. So this is 2 albums in one, on one CD. And I'm not going to play this as much as No Other. It's more typical country, bluegrass kind of a deal. But, it's still enjoyable. I enjoyed listening to them. I think these came out in 1968 and 1969. My buddy Glenn Kellaway will like this one, one of his least favorite bands. So I have 3:47 Eastern Standard Time by Klaatu. They are best known for Calling Occupants from Interplanetary Craft, which was a hit for the Carpenters. And then they've released other albums, and this one is once again, 2 albums on one CD. So I've got Klaatu, 3:47, and Hope. That was the cheapest way that I could buy this album, Hope, on CD, is to get it, including their debut. Very underrated band. And then just recently I got their next 2 albums, Sir Army Suit and Endangered Species. And they're more pop oriented. Once again, I'm not gonna play them as much as the first 2, and I've only heard Sir Army Suit so far, but if anybody out there has these, let me know what you think of them. And lastly, I got a box set of the Faces. That's right. When Rod Stewart joined the Small Faces, they changed their name to Faces, and this is their whole discography and bonus tracks. It is excellent. This was one of my favorite 70s albums, actually. One of my brothers had this on vinyl, and I used to play it quite a lot. It's got their big hit, Stay With Me, on it. I love that. That should have actually been the front cover. And then these other ones, Long Player. I haven't listened to all of these much yet. But once again, let me know what you think of any of these that I'm showing you. They were called Small Faces on their first album. It just comes with a tiny booklet, mainly with credits and faces, stray singles, and B-sides. And this was only, I think, something like $35. And then Ooh La La, which I played the most besides the one that is my favorite. Excellent, their final album. So yeah, I'm delving more into, I'm looking back at bands from the 60s, early 70s, and really appreciating some of these artists more than ever. For instance, the Kinks. I always loved the Kinks. Their singles. I was a big fan of their album Lola versus Power Man from 1970. And that, I did buy 2 or 3 of their albums in the 70s, Sleepwalker and all that. But going back, with the CD exchange with Glenn Kellaway, this I think it was this one that first grabbed my attention. The Kinks are the Village Green Preservation Society. Excellent. The whole album. And then I've got Something Anything. 2 discs. But I want to do a separate video either on this channel or my main channel about the good and the bad about CDs. And the bad about CDs is they tend to overdo it sometimes with bonus tracks or whatever. And I really have very little interest in bonus tracks, so I never really play the second CD. And then Face to Face, which I still need to listen to more. It's again a double CD. I had this for quite a while, the Essential Kinks, all of their great 60s and early 70s songs. And I've also got the Kinks Lola versus Power Man. It's just not right here in my hands. But my favorite one, it used to be Lola, even though, like I said, I never really listened to their full albums from the 60s. But Arthur is definitely my favorite Kinks album of the ones I've heard so far. And then there's the band Spirit, who I heard very little of. And I got this box set of all their early albums, and my favorite is some of these, the names of the albums are hard to remember. Yeah, The 12 Dreams of Dr. Sardonicus from 1970. So like I said, some of them are the early 70s, but these bands started in the 60s. But all of their albums are I was really impressed with them. So another great, underrated 60s band. And then there is Pretty Things. This one is from, I believe, 1970, Parachute. And I only have 2 Pretty Things albums so far, but I definitely want to get more of them. This one is one of the most underrated albums I've ever heard. It's very Beatlesque with harmonies. It's gorgeous. It rocks. Phil May is a great lead vocalist. I was really impressed with it. And then also, of course, probably their most famous album, SF Sorrow. The only thing I don't care about this is the stereo. The panning is not great. I'd almost rather listen to the mono of this, but it is still excellent. Procol Harum, the only album of theirs I ever really knew was Home from 1970, and I always loved this album. And and then their hit singles. But once again, doing the CD exchange, I became a huge fan of A Salty Dog, which I'd never heard the full album. And once again, comes with, a bonus disc. And then Shine On Brightly was just as good. Love it. and Procol Harum live with the Edmonton Symphony Orchestra. So I want to get Broken Barricades and Exotic Fruits, Grand Hotel, all of those I still need to listen to. Now I haven't done it for a while, but on my main channel sometimes I'll do a discography review and rank where I'll get a band's discography, or at least part of their discography, and in separate videos review and rank each of their albums. And the next one I'm doing, I had a poll on my main channel, and it was between, well, the two that got the most votes were Kate Bush and the Moody Blues, and the Moody Blues won, which kind of surprised me. So I will be reviewing and ranking, in no particular order, To Our Children's Children, On the Threshold of a Dream, Every Good Boy Deserves Favor, Seventh Sojourn, A Question of Balance, and In Search of the Lost Chord. Yeah, one more. And Days of Future Past. So I'm just doing part of their discography. And so of these albums, I know, 2 or 3 of them pretty well, and then the others I need to listen to more. But yeah, anything you want to say about any of these albums I'm showing, I'd appreciate. And I did a recent unboxing of Spooky Tooth, another great 60s, 70s band, so I've already talked about them, but, still learning, still listening to some of the albums I'm not familiar with. I still haven't listened to Witness yet, but Spooky 2 is great. You Broke My Heart, So I Busted Your Jaw. Yeah, great band. All of these bands I kind of ignored. And then Iron Butterfly, once again, very underrated. I was listening to their album In a Gata de Vida last night, and some of the lyrics are so cheesy. But you have to, realize it was the 60s, man, and it was the hippie era. But some great music on these, even their later albums like Metamorphosis. And finally, a band that I've always loved, but I've never really listened to their albums fully, even some of them that I had before. But buying this box set of Steppenwolf, the Dunhill ABC years, 1967 to 1971, the only albums I was really familiar with were At Your Birthday Party, which I love, and For Ladies Only, which I really love. I had, their debut album, but it was, I never played it much. And, the other night I played, the last 2 or 3 nights in a row, I played all of their albums, and I loved every album basically the same. They're just so underrated. And, they're known mainly for Born to Be Wild and Magic Carpet Ride and a few others, but possibly the most underrated 60s band. But then, there is The Pretty Things, Spirit, even Iron Butterfly, I think, is kind of underrated. So yeah, that's about it. I would just love your thoughts on any of the albums that I've been talking about, or what other 60s, early 70s bands I should be checking out. It's just I've got so much music. And I am still listening to everything that's been sent to me. Thank you. Golden Earring, and can't even remember all of it, but I've enjoyed everything that people have sent to me. But don't send any more for a while. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.